Hi, welcome to WrestleMania Wednesday. I'm your host, Don. Today we're going to be talking about WrestleMania XIII.
You're watching So Awkward. This is Freddy Krueger saying hi.
WrestleMania XIII, March 23rd, 1997 at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. Very, very good WrestleMania. I enjoyed this one a lot. From start to finish, it was pretty great. A lot of great matches, including my all-time favorite wrestling match. Maybe. I don't remember any bad ones. We'll probably have a couple bad ones. Oh yeah, right from the start we've got a kind of a bad one. The Godwins with Hillbilly Jim versus the Headbangers versus the New Blackjacks, including JBL making his WrestleMania debut. Does anybody care? I don't. The Headbangers won. This one was too many people that I don't care about in the ring at the same time. Up next we had the Intercontinental title on the line. The Sultan with Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund, which is weird, versus Rocky Maivia. Not yet The Rock, still Rocky Maivia, but making his WrestleMania debut. This one was not great, but it was okay. I mean, even early Rock is great. I mean, he's always been great. It was kind of fun because at the end, Rock's dad... It was kind of fun because at the end, Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson, came out because Rock was getting beat up by, I guess, everybody, and so Rocky Johnson came out and saved him. It's always fun when they bring out, you know, the old-timers, and so Rocky Johnson got to have his WrestleMania moment, so that was pretty cool. But Rock will go on to have much better matches than this one. Who's the Sultan? Up next, we have the return of Triple H, with Chyna this time making her WrestleMania debut versus Goldust. This one was awesome. This was just a great match. Great fun. Two just awesome wrestlers having just a badass match. These two just had great chemistry. And what can you say? Two of the best. Nice to see Chyna. Rest in peace. We'll be talking, I think we'll be talking about Chyna many times on WrestleMania Wednesday. And I'll have nothing but good things to say about her. I think she was, Chyna, it was a legend. And hopefully she'll go into the Hall of Fame next year. She deserves it. She's awesome. Poor Chyna. Poor Chyna. Sad story. Don't Google her. Up next, we had the tag titles on the line. It was champions Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, great team, versus Vader and Mankind, who was making his WrestleMania debut. This one was a lot of fun. How could this not be fun? Two great teams having a great match. Finally, we get to see Mankind. Not my favorite wrestler. I never really loved those weird hardcore matches that he's famous for, but he's one of my favorite wrestling legends. He just seems like such a great guy, and he was a great performer. And he always put on great matches, and this was a pretty great match. I've said nothing bad about Owen Hart or the British Bulldog, I believe, on WrestleMania Wednesday. They've consistently put on great matches, I think. Bulldog may have had some stinkers, but Owen Hart has always been great. And then we have the match of the night, the match of the century, maybe, the submission match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is my favorite wrestling match, maybe. There's a lot of great ones. It's this one. I love Bret Hart, British Bulldog at SummerSlam at Wembley. The Iron Man match with Bret and Shawn Michaels. And there's probably some non-Bret Hart matches that are contenders. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, CM Punk, no disqualification versus Brock Lesnar. That's another favorite. But this one, just the performances by Stone Cold. He's officially Stone Cold now versus the Hitman. Just they're both amazing. It's just every kind of wrestling fan, there's something for them. If you like technical wrestling, they've got that in there. They're both great technicians. If you like blood, there's a lot of blood. It's gory. If you like brawling, there's brawling. I guess if you like high-flying stuff, there's no real high-flying stuff. But there are a couple jumps. They go into the crowd. Like the first 10 minutes of the match, is them brawling, through the crowd, up the steps, in like fans' laps. There's one moment that always makes me laugh where Stone Cold is beating up Bret Hart, in the stands, and a guy selling beer walks by, and Stone Cold grabs a beer, swigs it, and then he just throws the cup at Bret Hart. Just great little moments like that. And when they finally get back into the ring, it's an epic brawl, and it's great. Just the story they tell is so satisfying and so engaging. It's the rare, what they call a double turn, where at the start of the match, Bret Hart is the good guy and Stone Cold is the bad guy. But over the course of the match, just their actions, by the end, the crowd hates Bret Hart and the crowd loves Stone Cold. It's amazing. It's flawless storytelling. You don't see storytelling. Like if John Steinbeck became a wrestling booker, this is the kind of tale he would tell. It's almost Shakespearean. This is as close as you can get to Shakespearean storytelling in the squared circle. Although Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero for the custody of their son Dominic comes pretty close. Although that's not really Shakespearean. That's more like Lifetime original movie. These two guys, probably my two all-time favorite wrestlers, having just the best matches of each of their careers here at WrestleMania XIII. Possibly the start of the Attitude Era, which belonged to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and just this kind of, dirty, bloody, beer-swilling action, ass-kicking action. It's great. Ken Shamrock is the guest referee. He was a legit mixed martial artist. I think a lot of credit for the success of the match goes to his performance as well. Referees, I don't think I've mentioned referees yet. Maybe I've mentioned Earl Hebner, although I don't even think I have. But the performance of the referee can add a lot. Like they really can sway the crowd reaction as well as the wrestlers do. And I think Ken Shamrock does a great job. Especially at the end where it's Ken Shamrock stops Bret Hart from just decimating the now unconscious Stone Cold. Spoiler warning. Bret Hart wins. Anyway, it's just a phenomenal match. I love it. Check it out. Who had the misfortune to follow up this one? Let's see. It was the Chicago Street Fight, the Nation of Domination versus Ahmed Johnson and Legion of Doom. Chicago Street Fight, I guess, is just everybody wrestling at once. I think no disqualifications. I don't really remember the stipulations. This was a good match, a solid match, that if it had been in WrestleMania XII, I think it would be a classic. But having a brawl like that, immediately following the Bret Hart Stone Cold submission match, no match could live up, especially one that's supposed to be some kind of hardcore brawl. Because we just saw the most hardcore brawl of all time. That was probably a mistake in booking, by whoever booked the event. But it was pretty solid. And I believe, was that Ron Simmons' WrestleMania debut? I don't remember. I don't think we've talked about him. He's a legend. Hall of Famer Ron Simmons. And then that brings us to the main event, which is heavyweight champ Sid Vicious defending his title against The Undertaker. Sid doesn't have a chance. But I don't think people would rank this as one of Undertaker's best WrestleMania matches, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's underrated. I think Sid, in general, is underrated. I love the guy. I love his promos. He's always hilarious. He's always intense. I think he's a pretty solid performer in the ring. He's a monster. I remember as a kid just always being terrified of Sid Vicious. of Psycho Sid. He's psycho. You don't see too many people who just tower over the Undertaker. Maybe really just Diesel, Sid, and Giant Gonzalez, which I guess aren't Undertaker's 3 best opponents. But I like this match. I think it was a lot of fun. As a main event, maybe it wasn't the best. Undertaker won because of some shenanigans with Bret Hart, where they were continuing his new role as a villain, where he came to complain about Sid. Somehow Bret thought he should have been in the main event or something, or he should have been the champion. I don't know the whole story. I don't remember it. I don't think I was watching wrestling at the time. And I thought this was a pretty solid match. Some people might disagree with me, but I thought these two, they didn't have the best chemistry, but they had enough chemistry. And Undertaker is always great, and he can always elevate any opponent. And I think Sid is underrated, and I thought he rose to the challenge and was a worthy adversary for the Undertaker. But at the end of the day, it's all about Bret Hart and Stone Cold and the start of the Attitude Era, and just the start of Stone Cold's dominance, the greatest of all time in the history of wrestling. Maybe. he's a nice up there. Who has had the most positive impact on the success of wrestling? Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan? That's a debate we can have another time. I would probably say Hulk Hogan, just because he came at a time and he just made it a worldwide sensation. But Stone Cold, certainly, he saved the flagging industry, and I think he made the most money. He sold the most merchandise, sold the most tickets. But then again, I don't know. As performers, and even as promo guys, I don't think Hogan can touch Stone Cold. I don't think anybody can. I think he's probably the greatest promo guy of all time. And I'm not even just talking about wrestling. Put a microphone. He's like William Jennings Bryan. He's like Clarence Darrow. He's like Mark Anthony. He's all rolled into one. That would be, and also maybe a little Jeff Foxworthy. Anyway, thanks for watching. All right, get out of here. Get out of here. You're ruining my show.